All right, everyone, we are now live, I believe, which means just a moment here. By the way, you can share out the link, to this live stream because otherwise no one will know that it exists. Come on, you can load it. There we go. There we go. All right, we've got a whole bunch of topics that we got to cover today. By the way, we're in the middle of a heat wave, and this isn't even as hot as it's going to get. In a couple of days, it's going to get up towards the heat index will feel like 100. It's going to be crazy. Right now, it's like full humidity, 85. That's warm for Vermont standards. It's really the humidity more than anything else that's the problem. And of course, for this broadcast, you can't have the AC in here. It's too loud. Can't have the door open because of ambient noise. So the cool air from the AC out there isn't flowing through here. So by the end, I might look a little bit sheeny. I might look a little bit like, Joe Biden nervous about his Epstein connections or something like that. But we're going to go through this. There are a whole bunch of things to talk about. Over 500 people watching already. That's pretty good. Share out the link. Otherwise, nobody new can find my existence. It's the only way I can gain subscribers now is with your help and participation, Clankers. So keep it up. Anyway, we got to talk about the squad. AOC, Tlaib, what's her name, Presley, and then Elon Omar. The four horsewomen of the apocalypse, as Trump is now calling them. Oh, man, he attacked him again not long ago, just earlier this morning. And it was the greatest thing ever. I think quoting another politician in the context was saying, like, these people are the reason why there are instructions on a shampoo bottle and stuff like that. Oh, at the very least, you can think that things are chaotic or degenerating or the situation's like one step from civil war, but at least it's not boring. At least we can agree on that. I think even the liberals kind of subconsciously are enjoying the political theater going on right now, even if they know they're about to get smacked in the cock and lose everything, which I think they are. We'll also be talking about that. Murmurings now that the House might take up a debate over impeachment, like they might actually be crazy enough to do it. So I'll get into that a little. We got to talk about the Epstein video that's been dropped of Trump and Epstein mixing it up back in fucking 1992, as though it was news. Newly released from NBC's archives. Oh, yeah. In other words, we had a couple of staffers dig through for everything Trump related to see if there was anything that we could possibly attack him with. This is the closest we got. We'll talk about that. The YouTube rules and just the general direction of alt tech and YouTube in general sense. Then also some Q&A. I will go to chat first here. I'm going to be going through that. So yeah, I'll be taking random questions, remarking on things and rambling because apparently people enjoy that. Dude, there are 777 people in here. Almost 1,000 people watching at the moment. Not a banned account says Trump equals racist. Yeah, I mean, if national origin is race, you could say that maybe in a roundabout way. Yeah, just going through it. I mean, it's still, I've got slow mode on, but there are still a lot of comments that come through. I can't respond to them all. Like some people are like, they get mad after a couple of streams. You haven't taken my question. I may not have seen it, or I may have seen it, but there's so much going on. When it's 1,000, 2,000, sometimes, what was the top? It was like 4,000 people watching live. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of comments, even with a 60-second cooldown. Ian Coville says, and I'm going to try to read out people's names first for the benefit of people who aren't watching live or who don't have a stronger connection. They get like chat hidden. Saying, do I have AC? Yes, there is an air conditioner, a pretty good one, but it's in the living room so that the main space can remain cool. Some of that cooling helps even with the door closed, but it's, you'd need a lot more for a house of this particular square footage. I would probably want a small window unit just for the office to keep it cool, but then it'd be noisy. Even the more efficient, less noisy models, that would bleed through definitely even with a directional microphone. And people already have problems intermittently with my audio quality, especially on live streams where it's lower fidelity than a standalone recording. The funny thing is the AT2020, if you can properly calibrate it, is actually a better microphone. But the Blue Yeti, in general, will function better with Logitech software, I've noticed. I've got it mounted at this point so that there won't be any problems with functionality. I've just got it mounted basically with the Alienware at this point. What web browser do you use, Styx? By Bleep Bloop. Depends. I use a number of them. I use Opera, I use Brave, and I use Pale Moon for slightly different purposes. Sometimes Pale Moon properly configured is the best. The problem is it doesn't play nice with certain websites. Opera and Brave do. And then, of course, it's a matter of whether I want a little more security or a little more speed for what I'm doing. Also, sometimes the browser will auto-update or something, and then it'll get fucked up. You have to use a different browser to try to find the old version or something. That's happened many, many times. Really big problem. Modema Rose says, trolls galore. Oh, yeah. Lots and lots of trolls in the chat. By the way, I'm glad for that. I feel protected. The fact that there are a lot of trolls and people that say crazy shit watching me who like my content makes me feel great. I feel fucking privileged. Yeah, thank goodness I've got people with senses of humor watching me. They're probably not the ones that camp out on the content to downvote it because, you know, my overdeveloped, sometimes psychopathic sense of humor would rub most people the wrong way. Yeah, the squad is an offensive term, says Kenny Powers. Use the 4 horsewomen of the apocalypse. Oh my God, it doesn't even matter at this point what nickname Trump gives them. They've destroyed the Democratic Party is so goddamn fucking inept. If they start impeachment proceedings, they'll probably fail that too. Yeah, you'd probably see a jettisoning of a bunch of centrist Democrats who want to get reelected in districts that would normally be somewhat red. They will not vote for impeachment, not over a tweet. Oh yeah, over a tweet that criticizes socialists. Do you realize, like, if I'm in the Senate or in the House and a vote comes forward and I'm in a district that generally is more Republican and I just happen to be a conservative or center left or dynastic long-term Democratic incumbent, I am not going to vote for that because I know what Trump is going to do. Oh, the people that voted for this, they're voting for socialism. I'll get kicked out. Yeah, by the way, let's say you got removed from office. The Democrats would lose so much support in the House and Senate, it would be a Pyrrhic victory at best. They'd get completely cocksmacked. He'd probably come back and run thereafter. By the way, if you do manage to get Trump out of office, you do realize he can come back and still seek another term later. He probably would because the Democrats would be hemorrhaging support the entire 4 years they were governing. Yeah. Joppy says, are you a prepper? No. I do prepare for like topical, like natural disaster and stuff. Like, you know, I have one of those survival straws in case, just in case, let's say order breaks down, a massive EMP comes off the sun, fries the world's electrical grid, the economies of the world collapse, and for 6 months, you know, things are dicey. Things will be rebuilt. The world's not ending, but it's good to know how to fire a gun, get some small game. It's good to know how to grow food. It's good to know how to prepare food. It's certainly a good idea to have some stuff readily on hand, basic survival shit. It's good to have basic survival skills. Some people, they think that you're like nuts or a conspiracy theorist for preparing for the possibility of problems. But then again, these are the same people that think that health insurance should be mandatory. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? You're so you're mind slave is what you are. Why no Hydra 509? Why no super chat option? I do not support the use of super chats. It's just a trap, just like ad revenue. It holds you to a different set of standards. And then someone says something dicey. The money gets sent to a group I may not politically agree with. That's one problem. Number two, I do not believe that a person should have more of a voice simply because they're willing to pay $5. I don't have a big problem with the concept, or like, you know, some of this other stuff, Streamlabs and shit. It's fine if someone wants to use that. I choose not to. I like everyone's comment to be created equal. I don't have any problem with other people. It's like when people use ad revenue, that's fine. I don't use it because I'd be a hypocrite. I use ad blocking software. I wouldn't use super chats, so I'm not going to take money from super chats in the channel. I think YouTube takes like 50% of it anyway, or more. People at first were getting in trouble for what super chats were saying. It's like, well, you know, what are you talking about, dude? This is why I don't yet have a call-in show. Because I'd need at least 2 or 3 other people to help me. I need them to set up and run stuff that allows them to delay things so that they can press a button, literally, and blank someone out if they start saying, you know, stupid shit, because they could get me in trouble because they happen to be on a stream on my channel if that happens. So I would need to have literally a staff, a group of people to help me with that. Maybe someday. Zippy Saboteur says, would you send your kids to public school, private school, or homeschool? Haven't decided yet. I don't have kids, so, you know. I don't know how I would feel about that. I guess part of it probably would depend on what kind of schools were around. Like, you know, maybe you only have one private school nearby, but it's like really Christian. I'm not sending my kid to a religious school. That's dumb. Homeschooling, maybe, but then you have to see what their behavior is like. You know, if they're total hellion, it's like, maybe I could use a few hours a day to actually get something done. And then public school, it's like, well, if there's no good public school, you know, wherever you're located, that would definitely be part of it. Cost of private school, cost of homeschooling after a fashion. Stringencies on that are different state to state. Yeah. Johnny Avanti, how do you feel about Owen Benjamin? I have no problem with Owen Benjamin. And a lot of people, they've asked me that for several streams now, the same with Nick Fuentes. I don't have a problem with either of them. I think that it's unhelpful when people attack one another as creators. I understand they disagree with one another, but when they devolve to the point where they're just like saying the Jew stuff, it's not solving anything. It's just endangering both of their presences. I don't understand why. Especially in the context of calling one another like names and stuff while saying the other person's childish. All you got to do is go silent and refuse to rise up. Just say, yeah, someone said shit about me. Fuck it. I don't care. That's what I do. That's why the new rules on YouTube, which I was going to get into anyway. YouTube now has a new policy regarding creator harassment. Now, they haven't unveiled it fully, but I have a feeling it's basically the gist is if you attack other people, especially priority creators, you're fucked. Thankfully, I've been very neutral on this platform for a very long time, so I don't think I have a problem with it. Once again, I'm looking sagacious when it comes to this subject. Once again, prescience matters, because I saw that sort of thing coming. Especially considering the popularity of Bloodsport style, stream style content being as it is. It was only a matter of time before that popularity became a threat to the streaming broadcasts of groups like CNN with their roundtable discussions and shit like that. So naturally, they were going to go after it. Oh, Demon Toast, are you growing weed in your garden? Lol, no. I don't have a problem with marijuana. I think it should be legal. Here in the state of Vermont, it is legal to grow it, but I'm not interested in it. I don't like the smell of marijuana. I don't smoke marijuana. I don't need money from selling marijuana. I don't give a fuck. Not necessary. Anyway, I'm going to get off chat here from over 2,500 people already watching. Make sure to share the link out. By the way, you should join me on BitChute. It'll be available there shortly after the stream ends as well. At this point, they're branching out into streaming. And of course, you know, a site like YouTube, at any random moment, it could decide I'm too wrong-think and disable my streaming abilities altogether. So you might as well join me elsewhere where I know that I can actually broadcast myself, because apparently you can't do that as much on regular tech anymore. We got to talk about the squad in particular. Literally, like the last 72 hours have been one of the most exciting periods in modern American political history, certainly since the night of the 2016 election. Trump has thrown a fucking grenade into the room with the Democrats. They've panicked and they're scrambling to come to their senses. It worked better than he anticipated. His initial estimation, he proves this by his tweet the other day, which is what I said within 10 minutes of him making his initial tweet. I said, this is 4D chess and here's how. Specifically, he's trying to force the party leadership to back up the socialists. And if he can do that, he can make them the face of the party. He runs against them in 2020. He wins. In poll after poll, he wins if his opponent is a socialist. But if he can run against the party itself, it almost doesn't matter if that's true, because he can just say, hey, you defend socialism, you take up aspects of a socialist platform. If your party's in charge, you'll be pressured by socialists. What's the difference? That sort of, it's a fear-based campaign methodology, that's for sure. At least in his case, he's contrasting that with his message of making America great and good economy and tax reform. So he's got a platform. The Democrats don't. And he's antagonizing him. He's egging him on right now because he's not doing this because he feels weak. When left-wing pundits and the Twitter mafia say, well, Trump is lashing out, he's worried. No, it's the opposite. He's lashing out because he's trying to antagonize the far left. He's trying to get them to force Pelosi to hold an impeachment vote that he knows will fail. Here's why it'll fail. If I'm a Democrat, and I addressed this briefly, but let me flesh this out a bit. If I'm from a district, there are a lot of Democrats in the House that fundamentally are in districts that are Republican. It's just that they are not challenged particularly. They've had weak people challenging them. They're right-wing Democrats, whatever. There are dozens of them in the U.S. House. they would all have to vote in favor of impeachment in order for impeachment to occur, more or less. I have a feeling dozens of them would jump ship and refuse to back it. Pelosi, I'm not sure will back it. Here you've got a situation where Trump has done nothing impeachable. Making a mean tweet, mocking Ilhan Omar and AOC is not an impeachable offense. It simply is not. The party structure, like when Cleaver, who was residing over their debate over whether to condemn Trump, when he left, it was because the far left of the party was egging him, saying, no, you can't strike what Pelosi said from the record. It's terrible that you're trying to keep her accountable to House decorum rules. But Cleaver, like the other sane Democrats, last generation Democrats, said, well, we have to. Otherwise, we're going to look chaotic and fucked up, and the American voters will hate us. But you know what? I'm not going to preside over this. I refuse to be part of your mob. He left. And then they had to get another Dem in who subsequently, yes, found the same thing. Hey, Pelosi broke the rules. Now you're going to have to hold a vote to just ignore that fact and restore her speaking role, which they did. They looked chaotic and insane. Now, while all the Democrats voted in favor of condemning his tweets, how many of them do you think will vote in favor of impeachment? I don't think that a lot of them would. I think it would be basically the far left and some opportunists, including people running for other offices, and the rest of them would either abstain or vote no. Why? Specifically because a lot of them are from technically Republican districts. And meanwhile, those 4 Republicans who voted to condemn, how many of them do you think would vote to impeach Trump? 0. The Republicans will harden like the shell of a goddamn fucking snapping turtle. Meanwhile, the Democrats will be like completely tripping over themselves. If they start debate over impeachment proceedings, they may not even get to hold a vote. Parliamentary procedure and bad blood and fury and chaos will overtake them. Because the problem is the AOCs and Tlaibs and stuff, they want more power. And Pelosi wants all of the power because Pelosi likes that sort of thing. She understands things from the perspective of a pragmatist campaigning on big money. They understand things from an ideological standpoint where they get self-righteous and they think, well, Trump said mean things. These are all freshmen in Congress. Or fresh women in their case. These people are not politically experienced. They don't understand how DC actually works. They're making life so difficult for the party loyal. They're making life so difficult for the Democrats. Now, part of me says this. Keep this in mind. Part of them is technically correct, which is that, yes, the Democrats are corrupt. Pelosi and the other neoliberals, they're more interested in winning than they are sticking to their ideological guns. They're unprincipled corporate sellouts. That's absolutely true. But that's unfortunately how you win in DC politics. You want to change it, you can. I guarantee the far left is not the group to do it, by the way. By the way, for once, I've got water instead of coffee. I mean, who wants to drink fucking hot coffee on a day that's almost 90 degrees full humidity? It's just not going to happen. I'm plenty caffeinated already. I think I can get through one live stream. I see great things for Trump ahead, though. I think he wins in 2020 based on this. The Democrats in the last 72 hours may have destroyed their chances in 2020. They made a mockery out of House decorum. They made a mockery out of their party. They looked weak to the far left. They said, dude, it took you hours of debate and parliamentary bullshit that they don't know anything about and don't care about. Why didn't you just hold a simple vote? Fucking condemn him. Fuck you. They look weak. They also looked chaotic to any center-left individual, to the swing voters that hate people like AOC and Tlaib. They're like, you're making morons out of yourself in order to defend 4 socialists. What are you doing? They're alienating the business Dems. Now, what I expect to happen, like with Trump's approval, he's going to take a little bit of a dip, I think, in approval, but then he's going to rise up above 45. Why? Because all those swing voters, for a while, they'll be hush-hush. But after a little while, they'll be looking at the Democrats melting down and going crazy. And the only thing they are able to do, and then only with a great deal of chaos, is vote to condemn and impeach and obstruct. They can't get anything else accomplished. They're going to be comparing that to the rock-solid Republicans, who by default, compared to the Democrats, are going to look astute. They're going to look orderly. They're going to look like they have decorum and respect for the offices that they represent. And they're led by a person who is sitting there laughing because he managed to finagle and bamboozle the entire Democratic Party. He fooled them. NBC came out in 24 hours and said, yeah, he had exactly what he wanted. He wanted AOC and Tlaib and Omar and Presley and these people. He wanted them to be the face of the Democrats, and that's exactly what he got. And then he gets this bonus gem. He gets the bonus of them totally melting down, even trying to condemn that, and now they might move forward with impeachment. Impeachment? Nobody wants impeachment. Democratic partisans that are going to vote Dem anyway want impeachment. Those swing, even left-wing voters are going to crucify the Democratic Party if they try that. It might not even succeed. Enough Democrats might flee off the ship like rats in order to cause it to not even work. They might come up short in the vote. And that, of course, relies on Nancy Pelosi even bothering to trigger it. Who's to say that she's even willing? It's going to be so great. Someone saying that it'll be like Reagan-Mondale. Yeah, I expect it to be a little bit like Reagan-Mondale. You know, Carter and Obama in that sense, although Carter was a one-termer, that looked a little similar. Trump is using Reagan's slogan for a reason. They probably will have a Walter Mondale candidate too. It'll be Biden, only this time Walter Mondale was a few years younger than Reagan. This time he's half a decade older. He doesn't even have youth on his side. Joe Biden melts down every other day anyway. Going back to chat here a little. 3,600 people watching. If you share that link out, you can get it to 4,000. Then the channel grows. The channel grows when people share it out because YouTube bans me from search and from up next and from trending, and you don't get notified when I upload. I'm completely demoted, and yet I'm still growing. I can beat MSNBC with both hands tied behind my back. Fuck them. That's because I'm more entertaining. Absolutely. Watching this chat is more entertaining to more people than will be entertained by Morning Joe. Fucking goofballs. Styx versus Vox Day. I hear a lot about that. I don't even know who it is. Yeah. Things going very quickly at the moment. I'm just going through chat for anyone who's wondering why I'm a little bit more quiet. Then I'll get on to the next subject. That's the way this show works. I ramble for a while, then I go to Q&A a bit, and then I go into the next subject and start rambling again. Yo, Styx. Yo, Lil Donnie. Ron Perlman meme, by the way. Best meme of the modern era. That and Andy Six's logs. Things that are random are good. It's like the ultimate millennial humor. Yeah. By Shitty McPoster, can you sell Styx bathwater? That would be hilarious. I would be joking if I didn't say I was thinking of that as a gag. Not even to make money, but just, you know, as a gag generally. Put the Ouroboros logo on top. I would, except, you know, if it's actually bathwater, it could potentially be a health hazard. And I don't really want to get sued by someone who gets, like, you know, some gastrointestinal shit going on because they drank my bathwater, or like they beat off with it, or some weird shit. I don't know. I don't think that's the greatest idea in the world. Some people have mentioned I should sell chamomile, but as you can see, this looks like a lot, but you know, you use quite a bit of it in the winter months because it helps with seasonal effectives. So I would need 10 times this much. I'd have to have more of a commercial setup in order to justify that. I mean, I'd have to have like racks in the basement for drying, probably a dehumidification system. I'd have to have bed after bed of nonstop chamomile. At that point, it stops being fun, and I like chamomile a lot as a plant. It becomes less attractive when it's like, you know, a whole meadow full of it. It's nice if it's just little patches here and there. Plus, it does take some effort. You know, you go out there and you start gathering it in the middle of a hot, sunny day. It can get a little overwhelming, trust me. Gardening, I love. But gardening for like profit or to like share with others, a little more difficult. I want a nice kitchen garden, enough tea for myself and others, you know, in the immediate sense. That's about it. By the way, I do sell catnip. I've got 2-pint jars that are like this of shredded dried catnip, the really good garden stuff. By the way, tip for all you cat owners out there. Catnip, most cats love it. But even cats that don't respond to that as much, if you take tissue paper, like printer paper or especially a paper towel, put it in with catnip like that. Just like sprinkle the catnip all over it and let it sit in an enclosed area for a day or two. Then give it to your cat. Oh my God. Especially if it's something that crinkles, like a paper that makes crinkly noises. They go crazy. They've got those little things that are paper impregnated by the chemicals in catnip. And those, if you wad them up and throw for them, they'll go crazy. You can make your own though. It's dirt cheap. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to grow catnip. You can't kill this shit. It's a weed, basically. You can also turn it into tea, by the way, and you can smoke it. Disclaimer, not recommending this. It is a mild stimulant when smoked, very short acting. It's a mild sedative when taken as a tea. It works on humans the same way as it does on cats, except to a much more muted degree. Ultimately, though, you should give it to your cats. All right, next subject, because we got to talk specifically about this fucking Trump video from NBC. They dug back through their archives, which means they were looking for dirt on Trump. They were looking for stuff that they can repackage to make life inconvenient for Donald Trump. Because NBC, again, they're actually motivated by politics. They are far left, very much far left, way more far left than MSNBC, owned by the same parent company, NBC Universal, in turn owned by the same parent company, Comcast, which 2 or 3 times has been rated the least liked company in the entire nation. In fact, they're rated lower than the IRS. Now, I have Comcast rented, and I've never had a problem with them. I don't know what people are talking about. Something like more than 50% of people have complained about Comcast. I've never had that happen. Like, the internet's, it's not like, you know, razor fast or anything like that, but it's stable for the most part. Cost is, you know, maybe a bit elevated, but Vermont's a monopolistic state, so you can't really help it. I don't understand, but NBC dug through its archives. I'm just trying to imagine like these big ass steel bank vaults with row after row of like really like Betamax and shit like that, dating back to the infancy of cable television. And they found this tape, and it's Trump at a party briefly with Epstein. The problem is, though, this is from 1992. The initial charge against Epstein was in the 2010s. And then the new charges against him are for shit from like the 2003 era. 1992 and 2003 are vastly different years. Yes, we all know that Trump was friendly with Epstein up until around 2000. We all know that. We've got quotes from him saying, oh, he's a good guy. And by the way, somebody mentioned that they thought it was like iron gauntlet and velvet glove sort of thing. Like Trump was giving him a backhanded compliment to sort of elucidate the fact that he was aware that he liked people who were underage. I don't know about that. The idea, though, that Epstein, like, he's like, hey, he meets Trump, fellow billionaire, he says, hey, you want to come to my island and screw kids? Like, that actually happened. You have to believe in the propagandistic one-dimensionality of Trump as a caricature that's been concocted of him as he's boorish, inept, arguably insane, racist, perverted. If you believe that, then you take one look at this and say, oh, haha, it all makes sense now. Trump is in league with this conspiracy to harm children. The funny thing is, like, it's like the left-wing version of Pizzagate at this point with the fucking Epstein stuff and Trump. We've got plenty of people that we know visited his private island and probably did stupid shit, like Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, and some of these others. Trump never did. He briefly mingled with him in a party in 1992, gave a one-sentence answer to his character in 2000, booted him later out of the Mar-a-Lago, and that's pretty much the end of it. Then, by the way, he gave testimony willingly to the FBI during the first investigation. They never even subpoenaed him because he was totally forthcoming. So he's squeaky clean. Don't you think that if Trump were involved with something like that, with the investigation into Epstein years ago, and all the investigations into Trump as a person since he's been president and even before, he's spied upon as candidate Trump. He's been investigated by House Intel, Senate Judiciary, the New York State Attorney's Office, Mueller probe. Don't you think they would have found something in there that they would be able to sum up? And yet nobody in Congress has mentioned this in terms of the Mueller report or anything Barr has said. Why? Because Trump is not connected to him and hasn't been. I have no doubt that Trump ended that friendship the second that he found out Epstein was a pervert. No, I don't believe that Trump's pervert. I think Bill Clinton is. Yeah, I think that he absolutely did untoward things on his private island. As far as the blackmail thing, like Mulnew's championing that a lot, and I think Cernovich as well, a little bit more hesitant to say that because trying to blackmail the Clintons, I would think, would result in getting shot. Maybe the Clintons are in bed with him in the most literal sense, like in league with him to begin. Maybe they empowered Epstein or something like that. That would make more sense. We know Bill likes adult females in a rapacious way, if allegations are true, which I don't know. He appears to have settled a lot of this shit. Time to get you on Fox, says Professor Fade. I would never go on Fox News. I don't want to go on any legacy media network because then I'd be helping my enemies. I'd be helping my competitors. I get more views doing this than I could ever get with a slot on a mainstream network. More people watch my content than watch a lot of these fucking pundits, some of them in really, really favorable daytime slots. So yeah, I wouldn't, why would I want to trade gold for silver, to tell the truth? That's exactly when people that are making it online, they start syndicating and working for a broadcast company. Yeah, you make a lot of money because of advertisements and stuff. It leaves you vulnerable, though. It leaves you vulnerable to them, number one, trying to lean on you to say or not say certain things. We've seen this before with notable YouTubers getting leaned on. Like CNN and Neistat had a deal that fell through. I have no doubt that it was because he balked at the fact that they were trying to control everything he said and did. Their idea was, hey, we'll give you millions of dollars and a CNN slot, but you've got to stop making all independent content. He said, well, you know, I like the Clintonian side of politics already, but I'm not signing this paper. And so they dropped him. Or like PewDiePie. He had that deal with YouTube itself to make like a YouTube Red-only exclusive, like a young adult style comedy series, I believe it was. And it fell through. It fell through. Why? Because the the Wall Street Journal writes a hit piece on him that he's dog whistling to Nazis, and all of a sudden the advertisers go crazy. It's just a fucking hit piece of bullshit, but it took, how much money do you think PewDiePie lost on that deal when they canceled it? It had to have been millions. He's a big time name. He's got way more viewership than any cable slot, news or otherwise. Name a show on TV that gets as much airtime as PewDiePie does, with a couple hours of editing investment a day and a staff of like, what is it, 2 or 3 people that actually help him cut shit up. Now, half the time, all he's doing is he streams and he plays video games. He gets more attention doing that than the so-called serious bullshit that you see on MSNBC or CNN or Fox anyway. Fuck Fox News. And by the way, when people say, well, Tucker Carlson is the only example of a good person on cable news. Now, I don't trust him either. Can you say controlled opposition? I think so. Just because Trump likes the dude doesn't mean that I have to. I think for myself. And he's still, let's say that he is thinking for himself and stuff. Okay, but you're still working for a network that by and large is neoliberal propaganda. Fox is a neoliberal corporation. There's no conservatism there. Biggest thing they get is Ann Coulter. She rambles endlessly about how she would vote for Bernie Sanders if he actually lied to her like he did 5 years ago on the issue of immigration. Bunch of bullshit. Total bullshit. You're the Ravera says you're the anti-Carlson. No, because I'm not corporatized at all. Totally grassroots. I'm anti anyone on corporate legacy media channels. I completely disagree with. I mean, come on. All they do is push war and censorship. You think that we're not? I compete with Fox more than I do with an MSNBC because people have tried to peg me as far right. People who are watching MSNBC or CNN, liberals and stuff, they already think that I'm like an extremist or something. They're not watching me. No, by and large, if anyone is further than center left, they think that I'm terrible. They think that I'll brainwash them if they watch me. Most of the people, most of you out there lean right, or you're apolitical or libertarian or something like that. Well, I mean, I don't think that you're likely to go, like if you weren't watching this, would you be watching MSNBC right now? No, maybe Fox. Breitbart might get a new reader. Maybe if you're really out there, maybe you watch Glenn Beck with The Blaze. Another censorship-loving sellout, by the way. Styx and Paul Joseph Watson. Now, I like Paul Joseph Watson. He's good. Anyone who's defamed that regularly can't be all that bad. Let's just put it that way. By the way, it looks like my broadcast on here is a little bit low quality at the moment on here. Not sure why that would be happening. Who fucking cares? Yeah, 13 years of not, by Adam Rocks, 13 years of not watching TV. For me, it's not 13, it's a little less than that. But yeah, I mean, somewhere around like 6 or 7 years ago, I just turned off cable for the most part. It's mindless. Like I can't even interact with it. I can't make my own TV content, but I can make my own content here. I love it. I think it's wonderful. I got 4,200 people watching live right now. And that's probably more than watch live some news broadcast too, unless they're covering some major terrorist attack or whatever. Now we'll talk about YouTube a little bit in more depth. That is specifically their creator harassment policy. We should really make a poll, because I have a feeling YouTube came out and said, well, we're altering our harassment policies. I'm like, oh, you know, trying to find out how they're altering them. Can't find anything. When YouTube does this, when it's not immediately forthcoming about new changes, what does that actually mean? It means that it's going to piss off a lot of creators. What I imagine it primarily is geared towards is keeping people like me from criticizing people who are part of the chosen, special, pretty people of YouTube. That is the Katy Perry and Jimmy Kimmel crowd. The cute kids, the soccer moms, the easily outraged ones, and like the preppy crowd, essentially to keep us away from the cheerleaders, I guess, so to speak. So YouTube has decided to muscle in and prevent satire and criticism of people if they're special, and thus make a lot of money for the site. So no talking about what's her name there, the one that made that really hypersexualized song recently, not fucking Taylor Swift, that the one that went through a brief period of pretending to be like reformed and religious and stuff, Miley Cyrus, I think. And did the one there where she's like basically in a skin tight vagina suit, weird shit like that. Really funny. By the way, I don't find that offensive. I think at some point it just becomes passe. At this point, if they really want to offend and shock people, they should have like I don't know, nationalistic imagery in their music. They'll have to go back to being like 80s goths or industrial rockers from the early 90s. Some of that stuff be funny. 7 Revelation 7. Styx, thoughts on QAnon? It's a bunch of bullshit. It's a LARP, essentially. It's engineered by people who, you know, are good at educated guessings and cold readings. Either that or someone who's deeply schizophrenic and spits out word salad and just relies on other people to reinterpret it. Sort of like the Oracle at Delphi sort of thing. Yeah, damn it, Janet. By the way, nice reference. We can't be shocked anymore. That's right. Yeah. Well, you can. It's just that the things that would shock people now are stuff that would have been considered like normal in the 50s and vice versa. The stuff that they're trying to shock people by is like, it's like, imagine, it must be really sad. Like, imagine you're like a Disney star and you try to get edgy in order to branch out and it works for a while. Then you sort of fall into a cocaine tailspin. You try to revive that successfully by glomming on to corporations. And it starts to fall flat anyway, because now you realize you're getting older. So it's like you either have to go to singing the standards like Golden Oldies styles. It's going to be so fucking funny. Can you imagine with the Golden Oldies channel has like Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus on it? Can't wait for that day. Part of me wants to die young so I don't have to deal with arthritis and stuff. But then I'm like, no, I want to live to be 100. I want to live to see the day that like people are rediscovering the 80s again, and I mean like in the lamestream sense, and stuff from this generation is frowned upon as the stupid shit, the stupid vacuous bullcrap that it really is. Some of the worst music of all fucking time being made in the here and now. It's like, even when I was a little kid, I always hated modern music, even in the 90s. Like, unless you got to listen to the rock station, 90s pop sucked dick. 90s pop was terrible. Fucking Sheryl Crow and shit like that. Oh my God. But then you got 90s rock. That was pretty good. I like the 80s because the 80s, the only era in which rock, which, you know, basically was metal for the most part at that point, was totally mindless and had no soul or message, and pop therefore had to actually do it. So you have like the We Are the World, Save Africa bullshit from pop. And then meanwhile, you have all the hair metal and they're like, oh, I love booze and hookers and cocaine. Yeah. And shrieking and doing drugs, going crazy. And it led to great cinema too. Like every other movie in the 80s, what is it? It's just a bunch of explosions and dudes in leather riding bikes and women with gigantic breasts. And that's basically the average 80s movie. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Jerkamp, Barron is Q. The Barron Trump stuff is still pretty funny. 1900, The Last President, good book. Short story, basically, but interesting. By the way, you can get that on Amazon. I'm the one that edited it, so it works for me when people are buying it. It helps because then I can invest in the garden and stuff like that. Buster says, will you go to Area 51? No, but I guess if they're really live streaming it, I might tune in. I expect that what'll happen is a group of people will show up. They'll get to the line that says, don't go any further or we'll fucking kill you. And they'll sit there chanting about aliens. They'll give an impromptu news report or something, and then they'll leave. Some of them might camp out overnight and get high. Ultimately, they'll leave. Can you imagine, though? Imagine that hundreds of thousands of people were to actually descend on the area. Like, for days before, people would be amassing in surrounding areas. Like, what's the name of that one little town? The one with like all the UFO themed bullshit. The one that's a real tourist trap, I'm sure. Imagine there people there like, yeah, cha-ching, this is going to be a real great year. Oh my God, we're going to take a month-long vacation during this off season because we're going to be flush. We're going to be rolling in dough. Now, all the local motels, restaurants and stuff, oh, I'm sure that they're dusting off all their decorations and slapping a coat of green paint on every goddamn alien that they have in their store. I guarantee it, because even if only a few thousand people show up, they're going to need a place to stay. They're going to need a place to eat. You might as well double the fees at the parking meters. Man, you can make a lot of money. It's just commercial bullshit. Yeah, Rachel, Nevada. Dude, let me tell you this. Area 51 does not have aliens in the freezer. I believe 100% in extraterrestrials. I guarantee they're real. I guarantee you that there's intelligent life out there. Most of it is either not intelligent enough to know we're here or too intelligent to interact with us. One thing that I've posited is that because the Earth has so much life on it, it's probably deadly to most species. Like the spores and the bacteria and the oxidizing atmosphere, water vapor and stuff probably would like destroy most life that would try to inhabit it. Most life in the universe could be that it's not even largely carbon based. What if silicon-based life is actually more plentiful and this planet's a weird sort of abomination that looks like the way we would look at a Nurgle worshipping cult or something? All weird and rotten with decay and crazy stuff like that. Now, there are no aliens, but I guarantee that the Groom Lake, I guarantee, is very high security for a reason, though. All sorts of aeronautic tests. I bet energy weapons are tested there, too, maybe types of explosives, machinery. Stuff like Project Aurora, things like that. Maybe flying saucers in the literal sense, like vertical takeoff and landing craft that can, sort of turn on a dime, 90-degree angle turns and stuff. Yeah. I've often thought, what if you could do something with a magnetism in order to sort of shoot up, and you didn't even need really a propulsion system. You just needed an internal energy source able to direct magnetism in order to move. Yeah, you could execute a 90-degree turn real fast. Be interesting. It's funny because if you look at test footage of this flying saucers that the U.S. Air Force tried to make in the 70s, they're like propeller powered. And so they can hover, but only 20 or 30 feet. they're extremely difficult. And I guess they crashed a bunch of them. They gave it up. That's so great. Yeah, imagine if you had 1 million people show up at Area 51. Let's say that you get the crowd drunk and high and stuff. So still only a few people are going to be crazy enough to try to storm it. By the way, to anyone out there that's thinking of attending, I say you shouldn't do that, and I'll tell you why. Let's say you do get a group of drunks or people there. They might be crazy enough to provoke live fire from the guards. If that happens, there's no guarantee those bullets stop when they hit those people. They will ricochet and potentially hit people that are some distance away. It is not safe to attend. That's what I would say. I'm sure that it's a very amusing idea. I would love to tour Area 51. That's like the one reason to run for the presidency is so you can go to Groom Lake, I guess that, and get a write-up on Roswell and the JFK assassinations and Bigfoot and shit. But seriously, it's not a good idea to perturb the men in black that guard that facility. They'll kill you, and they won't hesitate, and they've got a license to do so. There won't be a funeral because there won't be much left of you. You'll just get fucking vaporized. They'll come down on you so hard they'll crush you with a tank. Then again, I suppose that'll make for one hell of a live stream, so, I'll get the popcorn ready. Yeah, everyone's gangsta until the AC-130 gets called in. Yeah, everyone's gangsta until they realize that they use directed energy weapons already. They probably have those crowd control weapons mounted up on those hills before the people show up. So yeah, they'll just aim that at you. It won't hurt you. It'll just make your insides feel like liquid and make you shit your pants and fall down at the same time, unable to even move. Yeah, and then they'll drag you off to federal prison for 10 years. You'll suffer way, way worse than if they had just blown your head off. Terrible idea. I suck at guitar. What are your thoughts on Bohemian Grove? A bunch of rich people acting out because they have to work too hard. Weirdos, in other words. They're doing the same thing that other groups of dudes would do, like a summer camp, except that they have the money to actually pretend that they're worshiping Moloch and stuff. And so people get freaked out. I can understand why. It's not a cult, though, I can tell you that much. It's like the cremation of care, is, according to what I can gather about it, it's like a symbol. It's like when you first get there, the idea is like, okay, stop thinking about business. For these days, all you're going to do is wander around in the woods and drink, basically. And so they cremate care. The effigy is sort of a symbol of getting rid of their cares and worries. And they could just go to the Bahamas, or they could just go to the Mar-a-Lago if they wanted to have a good time. If I was a billionaire, I wouldn't go to Bohemian Grove. I would go to the Mar-a-Lago or something. I'd be doing that. I'd fly on one of the first class seats in like Dubai Airlines, where you've got like a private room as big as this office, and they give you like caviar and $1,000 bottles of water and shit. You see, Ben Garrison mentioned you in his latest cartoon. Yeah, I gave him a cartoon tip. Gave him an idea. I haven't seen the cartoon yet. Maybe I should go do that. Yeah, probably on his website. Just a sec, everyone. Let me see this. It's a great honor if he actually put my name anywhere close to it. Oh, wow, that's pretty great. Special thanks to Styx. That's amazing. Love it. Yeah, so go to graphics here. I'm going to plop the link in the description. It'll actually load here. The new face of the Democrat Party, radical and more radical. Excellent win. Yeah, so in the description, link to graphics. That's Ben Garrison's site. You can see. Winning. That's a huge victory for me. Ben Garrison is great. Yeah. Second, it's amazing. How does he say it? I can't remember how he says it. Amazing. Nick, oh God. To slim and none, you almost got me with that. I was about to read that out. That happens so often. Like if you've ever seen like Sal's prank calls, Stern show, Howard Stern show, to like Swap and Shop and stuff. Oh my God, the weird shit they get people to say, like Mike Hunt and stuff like that. Oh my God. It's like the greatest shit ever. Yeah, 4,200 people watching live. The link doesn't work. Here, just a sec. Let me put it in, I'm going to put it in chat again. Maybe I did this wrong somehow. Fuck would it be doing that? No, that link should work. Okay, just look up Ben Garrison cartoons. You can't miss his site. It's right there. It's going to be the only thing in search. That's pretty great. Hugh G. Rection. All right, everyone, don't worry about the link. You know, all you have to do is look up graphics, Ben Garrison, and you'll find his site. Just Google it or Bing it or look it up on whatever, DuckDuckGo. It was funny. Maybe somebody has a copy of this. Back when they were doing like the Spurdo, like America Bear stuff, somebody made this one. They posted on 4chan. I've never seen it anywhere else, but it was Spurdo Sparrow, and it was like GMO crops not in our gardens. What else did it say? I can't remember exactly. For some reason, that reminded me of it. It was pretty funny. I don't know. Somebody can DM that to me. The site is down. No, we couldn't have. Dude, I'm literally looking at it right now. It's loading just fine for me. Oh no, maybe it is down now. Ah, fuck, I accidentally bent his site. If he's watching, sorry, dude. Better to have too much traffic than too little, though. It'd be ironic if somebody like attacked his site right as I was linking it out. It'd be even funny, like his web host takes him down for a radicalization or something. No, it's definitely cycling through the pictures, though. It's still loading those. AOC Alien versus Pelosi Predator. Whoever wins, we lose. Newsflash, stop tyranny. Yeah, I think we might have accidentally his site. Go to his Twitter page, probably. I have to assume he posted it there. Let me go see that. This might actually lag the stream. Just, I'm really sorry, Ben. Oh, God, it's the best thing ever. Oh, God damn it. I can't even fucking type. See, it's so my mind is going. I'll tell you. Yeah, he's got it on Twitter. I'll link you his post on Twitter for those of you who actually use it. There you go. Link in the description of chat. Yeah, Spurdo Sparrow, and it was like DuckDuckGo reminded me of that because it was like duck fuck yo, and for some reason I thought that was hilarious. Looks like it wants to rain. I wish it would. If I can't have the air conditioner on here, I could throw the windows open at least to be a little bit cooler. Yeah, 4,000 people trying to load the site might have accidentally. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. Poor Ben. He just can't. He gets disinvited to the White House and his website gets fucked because of a live stream. Oh, my God. Yeah, I thought that was a good cartoon idea, though, so I fronted it to him, and I guess he liked it. That's so great. It actually is a big honor to be mentioned on a Ben Garrison cartoon. It's like the highlight of my day for sure. That and the fact that the Dems are crazy enough to think about impeachment. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? I mean, they've got to be fucking crazy. They got to be totally nuts. But then again, I remind myself that right now they're bowing down before people like Elon Omar and AOC and defending them. What Pelosi and the neolibs should have done is said, we condemn these remarks, but at the same time, it's like, at the same time, they're kind of antagonizing Trump after. Well, no, I don't think that they would get crucified if they said that. In fact, Trump has sort of rigged them into a corner that they can't back out of. Like, there is no real win for them. It's a lose-lose situation. Trump has been in these, and he always ends up shifting the debate so he wins anyway. The Democrats can't think of a way to do so, though. I mean, it's masterful. I can't think of any way that they really get out of this. Because if they vote to, I mean, think. If they don't hold a vote, the far left gets alienated. If they do hold a vote, the business Dems get alienated. Either way, it probably fails anyway, exposing the chaos and fractured nature of the party. I can't see anything going well for them. It's complete 4D chess. I like, by the way, big credit to Timcast because, you know, on further consideration, he came around to the same conclusion. It's like, oh, shit, it is 4D chess. His hot take was like 2 minutes after the tweet. So, you know, you got to forgive the dude. Meanwhile, Richard Spencer is still salty about Trump, you know, not exactly getting aboard with his idea to deport all minorities. I wonder why. Oh, James Innes. Hey, Styx, let's do play Fallout. I can't do that. The problem with doing, I did some gaming videos with Fallout and Victoria 2. The problem is I get really into it, and I don't want to supply commentary. And just playing the game alone, it's like, it feels weird because and now I just kind of like to game alone. I think Hillary will try to run. No, Hillary Clinton's not in the running. She's not crazy enough to run. She'd lose. She doesn't want to lose again. She's an old woman. Biden's the only one there crazy enough. Him and Sanders are the only ones crazy enough to run at their respective ages. Fallout with chat. Well, then I'd be playing Fallout here, streaming it, and then, I don't know. I think that'd be, you wouldn't be seeing it in HD, that's for sure. Not with my internet connection. You're seeing it in beautiful 240. The thing is, that game on the Alienware, now that I've reconfigured things, other than the loading screen issue, which still persists, I managed to get the lag removed. Game it plays so well. I mean, it's smoother than shit. Yeah, Hillary Rodham Clinton needs to be able to walk in order to run, says N2D2. Yeah, she can't do it. Favorite faction? The Minutemen. Really, they're the libertarian faction. It's funny because you can literally use the four-pointed political compass. Like the authoritarian left would be the Institute, the authoritarian right would be the Brotherhood, the libertarian left would be the Railroad, and the libertarian right would be the Minutemen. That's roughly, if it actually is kind of a manufactured four-way system. They did manage to accomplish that. It conforms almost exactly to the modern political compass. I don't know, but I will say this: the best companion was Nick Valentine, but Deacon actually is a close second. If you go through his shit, his attitude towards the things that you do tends to be pretty funny, like wisecracks and stuff like that. And so he's sort of like basically a chem hippie. I know most of you don't know what I'm talking about. It's Fallout 4. It's a Bethesda game. I really enjoy it. I've played through it many times. One of my favorite games of all time. I think Victoria 2, Fallout 3 would be on the list as well. Victoria 2 might be my all-time favorite, though. Where does all of the hate go once Trump is gone, says Robert Richardson. Trump, they'll keep talking about him even after he's out of office. There'll be liberals that won't get over it. They'll be like, oh, we should have impeached him. Oh, we should investigate him now that he's not president anymore and stupid shit like that. You watch. They'll do that, especially if they manage to knock him off in this election, which I don't think is likely. But if they did, if they manage to win, I think they will immediately turn around and try to investigate him. They'll do to him what he mused doing to Hillary Clinton. Try to make an example of him. Yeah. See, right now my feed here is actually not going. Just a sec. Let me restart this. Maybe it's because I got Twitter open. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Yeah. So recap for everyone what we discussed in this exciting live stream. The Democrats have gone completely fucking crazy. They're talking about impeachment. Oh man, I can't wait to talk about that if they do it. Like if they actually hold a vote, if they actually debate whether to vote on impeachment, I will laugh. If they actually decide to hold a vote, I'll laugh 10,000 times harder. And then when it probably fails because a bunch of Democrats refuse to vote in favor, their party will implode. Their party will implode if they actually go forward with impeachment. Pelosi, again, she knows this. Does she have the balls to stand up against the far left of her party and run the risk of them attacking her by saying, you are siding with Orange Man? Does she risk Rashida Tlaib and Elon Omar and that Presley person and AOC teaming up on her and gaining a bunch of other far left Democrats, including some of the candidates like Sanders? Does she risk a coalition of far leftists trying to out her as Speaker of the House? Oh man, can you talk about a Dem civil war then? When people were talking about a civil war the other day, I thought that would be more readily affixed to the Democrats than to the nation. Nation's rock solid. The Republicans aren't in disarray. The swing voters largely have rejected far leftism. They're not in disarray. The people that matter in the country, as far as, you know, if you had a civil war, who owns the means of firepower, they're all united against the far left. The far left has nothing. You have no advantage. You've lost already and don't even fully realize it. Socialism lost 100 years ago. Thank goodness. Communism's dead. Thank goodness. We don't need to revive it and, you know, smack ourselves in the skull. And then we've got, of course, the squad in general leading the Democrats down their dark path. Talk a little bit about the Epstein Trump video. That's almost an afterthought topic, though, because it's just, it doesn't matter. NBC finding a video from 1992 of Trump and Epstein, like this is 8 years before Trump is like, oh yeah, I think he's a great guy. He likes younger women, you know, and stuff like that. We already knew that they were friendly at the time, but there was never any criminal charge against him. There was no reason to believe he was doing perverted stuff. He didn't even own this island yet, I don't think, in 1992, did he? Maybe he just had his ranch or something. Somebody will have to look that up. And then YouTube's new rules that inevitably will favor priority creators like everything else they do, other than their copyright reform, which I give them credit for. Very good on the copyright strike reform. Now, instead of getting a strike for most intents and purposes, you got music or footage or something, the content owner can cause you to just blank it out. And you get a chance to do that, blank it out, replace it with something else, blur imagery and so forth. That's a step in the right direction. Let's give YouTube credit where credit is due. You should still join me on BitChute, link in the description, however, because eventually they'll have general live streaming. I may start doing the show there. Yeah, I may start doing that just to drag more people onto the platform. But yeah, I think that it's about time to end the chat here. Don't be racist against orange people. Yeah, that's the one group of people that you're allowed to criticize. People who eat too many carrots, you know, you're fucked, basically. The Democrats do not represent you, carrot fans. I got a bunch of carrots in the garden. That's just more evidence that my garden is radicalizing people. Yeah. Yeah, and then to cap it off, Ben Garrison apparently crediting me a bit there with his latest cartoon. Thank you, Ben, if you see this. Sorry about your site, at least temporarily getting fucked by thousands of people trying to go to it at once. Unintended. Probably should have just put it in the description after. Whatever. Anyway, it's a good cartoon. I like Ben Garrison's work quite a bit. So yeah, I am now going to, oh yeah, awesome, bro, make me a moderator. There will never be moderators in my live chat, never. It'll never, I don't trust anyone else to moderate. If I see something that I really, really need to block someone for, I can, although I don't pay more than half-assed attention to the chat most of the time. No, I don't believe in banning or putting people in timeouts for bad behavior. I don't care what you say in chat. Of course, if you say the wrong thing, somebody else who doesn't like me, who's lurking there, might flag your shit, but it's not going to be me removing it. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you tell edgy jokes or say weird shit. But yeah, it's about time to sign off. It's too hot. I would continue for another hour, but it's too hot. It's too humid. I need to open the door, get some cold air in here, and be truly shirtless and probably pantsless later. So I'm going to enjoy myself. That's about all. Peace out.